Picture this, it's a Friday night. You're out with your closest friends, laughing, dancing, and enjoying the moment. The night is young, and the energy is electric. But by morning, one of you is gone, vanished without a trace. Just gone. This isn't a scene from a thriller movie. This is the real-life story of Brian Shaffer, a 27-year-old medical student who stepped into a bar one night and was never seen again. How does someone simply disappear into thin air? What really happened to Brian Shaffer? And why, after more than 15 years, does this case remain one of the most baffling mysteries in modern history? Let's dive in. It was March 31, 2006, in Columbus, Ohio. Brian Shaffer, a bright and ambitious medical student at Ohio State University, was ready to unwind. Spring break had just begun, and Brian was looking forward to a night out with his best friend, Clint Florence. The two headed to the Ugly Tuna Saloona, a popular bar near campus known for its lively atmosphere and college crowd. Brian was in high spirits. He was weeks away from proposing to his longtime girlfriend, Alexis Wagner, and his future seemed brighter than ever. Witnesses at the bar that night described Brian as the life of the party. He was laughing, chatting with friends, and even striking up a conversation with two women he just met. Around 1:30 a.m., Clint decided to call it a night. He told Brian he was heading home, but Brian wasn't ready to leave just yet. He said he'd catch up with Clint later. Those were the last words anyone would hear from Brian Shaffer. At 2 a.m., the bar began to close. Patrons filed out, and the staff started cleaning up. But Brian was nowhere to be found. His friends assumed he'd left on his own, maybe to grab a late-night bite or head home. But when Brian didn't show up the next day, or the day after that, his family and friends began to worry. Brian wasn't the type to just disappear. He was responsible, ambitious, and deeply in love with his girlfriend. Something was very wrong. Authorities were called in, and the investigation began. The Ugly Tuna Saloona had security cameras, and investigators hoped the footage would provide answers. What they saw only deepened the mystery. The cameras captured Brian entering the bar earlier that night, but there was no sign of him leaving. Not through the front door, not through the back, not through any exit. It was as if he had simply vanished into thin air. The bar itself became the focal point of the investigation. The Ugly Tuna Saloona was located on the second floor of a building, with a construction site next door. Some theorized that Brian might have fallen into the construction site, but a thorough search turned up nothing. Others suggested he could have left through a service entrance, but again, there was no proof. Brian Shaffer was gone, and there were no clues to explain how or why. Over the years, several theories have emerged. Some believe Brian staged his own disappearance, overwhelmed by the pressures of medical school and his impending engagement. Others think he met with foul play, perhaps a random act of violence or a targeted attack. There were even rumors of a love triangle or a secret double life, but none of these theories ever led to concrete answers. Brian's family was devastated. His father, Randy Shaffer, became a relentless advocate for his son, distributing flyers, appearing on TV shows, and even hiring private investigators. But despite their efforts, no leads ever panned out. Brian's girlfriend, Alexis, was equally heartbroken. She described Brian as a kind, ambitious man who would never just disappear without a word. The love of her life was gone, and she had no answers. Randy Shaffer passed away in 2008, never knowing what happened to his son. His death added another layer of tragedy to the story, leaving Brian's brother, Derek, to continue the search for answers. To this day, Derek remains determined to find out what happened to his brother. In 2008, a man named Jeffrey Hickman claimed to have seen Brian in a bar in the Caribbean. He said Brian was alive and well, living under a new identity. But when investigators followed up, the lead went nowhere. Was it a case of mistaken identity? Or was Brian really out there, starting a new life? The possibility only added more layers to the mystery. To this day, Brian Shaffer's disappearance remains one of the most perplexing missing persons cases in modern history. What happened to him that night? Did he leave the bar through an unseen exit? Was he the victim of a crime? Or did he choose to vanish, leaving his old life behind? The answers may never be known. If you're as captivated by this mystery as I am, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. See you in the next video.